And with that, we go out to the phones and to Los Angeles, New York. I don't know where he's calling in from, but Paul Scheer, how are you, Paul?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on with us. Where are you out in L.A. right now?
I am in Los Angeles right now, yeah. Which I'm in a crappy hospital that is infested by rats that is used for Children's Hospital and Scrubs. That shows Scrubs.
Oh, so they just reuse for the same hospital for every hospital show out there?
I think so, yeah. I mean, there's still some patients in here, too, so it's a lot of fun.
Have you tended to any of the patients?
Yeah, always. I just go in, I check up on them. I just do a lot of catheter work. I'm just always putting in catheters.
Well, we heard you just got out of a production meeting. Any career things you want to spill the beans on? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I got a new show coming out on Adult Swim this summer. It's called NCCSSDSUV, and it's like it's in the vein of like those CSI and NCIS shows. And there's actually a trailer up online on Funny or Die and stuff. So we're doing a whole series that's going to be with Children's Hospital next season.
What is it again?
It's NCCSSDSUV.
That is great.
Okay, it's a mouthful.
Who came up with that? Was that just off an eye chart or what?
Well, it's National Terrorism Strike Force Unit San Diego Sport Utility Vehicle. So it's pretty intense stuff.
Will you be cross promoting with the league at all? Will Andre be any cross promotion, fantasy sports?
I wonder. The closest that we have is we're shooting a scene in the abandoned San Diego Clippers stadium. Like
Nice.
That's where the Clippers originally were. So yeah, no. So far, my character's much cooler in this show than Andre. I even have a full head of hair in this show.
Well, I'm sure a lot of douchey people think Andre's cool. So
yeah, there you go. Well, people who know about fashion.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true. So where do you get the character Andre from? For those listening that don't know, Paul Scheer plays the character Andre on the FX TV show The League. And where do you come up with the ideas for Andre?
Well, I mean, the show, Andre, for people who haven't seen the show, is like the loser friend of your group that is always around that you don't really hate, but he's the loser. He's the guy who dresses really bad, has bad taste in art, and is just trying a little bit too hard. So and the kind of the joke of the show is that he is by far the most successful guy of the bunch of all of his friends, but they give him no respect at all. And I mean, it's the best character to play because I wear the worst stuff. I mean, it's like Ed Hardy vomited on like a Hot Topic, and that is what I wear.
Thank God. I did not want this to be a situation where Paul Scheer was digging out of his own closet here for his wardrobe.
Oh, no. We go deep into the racks to find different stuff. But the coolest thing was I actually got to go to the Super Bowl this year, which was amazingly fun. And it was so good that actually watching the Black Eyed Peas live was amazing. I was like, they're really good. Then checked Twitter 5 minutes later and was like, oh, I guess I'm the only person who thought that.
Well, I'm sure if you saw them live, I mean, that's all us people who are not nearly as fortunate enough to be there live. I mean, sure, it's free concert at the halftime of the Super Bowl. Check me out, right?
I know, yeah. You felt like it was like we were all sitting up in our booth and we were like, man, this sucks. Like, we got the Black Eyed Peas. Like, we just could have gotten somebody cool. Why couldn't they gotten like Kanye or Jay-Z? And then like we were all bummed out. But then you watch. I mean, I guess when people are falling from the ceiling and Slash is coming out of the ground, I was like, I'm pretty impressed. I'm into this.
Paul Scheer from the FX TV show The League joining Elephants in the Room on Mile High Sports.
It seems like you guys get the Super Bowl invite now. Do you guys find yourselves kind of sort of being indoctrinated more into the sports world? I mean, you guys have obviously had a few guest stars from the NFL, but now it's almost like I feel like you'll get guys like slapping you on the back, like, hey, man, sports show, this is one of us. You're talking about us now.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, the one thing I've kind of learned is that like a lot of these NFL players are really, really funny, and they all kind of watch the show. So now, we've been really lucky. Like I'm like just like when I get invited to go to a game, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. We get to we went to Baltimore and saw a Ravens game. We went to Minnesota. We've been to San Diego, and it's like I just love going. And all these guys are really nice to us, and they all want to come on and do the show. So hopefully next season, if there is a lockout, which I hope there isn't, maybe we'll get some more guest stars because they won't be doing too much.
Would that affect a potential? I mean, obviously, I've seen that FX has renewed it for a third season. Would a lockout make it a little bit more of an interesting kind of plot for the season?
Well, you know what? In my mind, this is not confirmed. I mean, the show's creators are amazing. Jeff and Jackie Schaefer, they are. Jeff was behind Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm and Borat, and Jackie old school and stuff. But so they're really smart about how they're going to do stuff. But my gut is it would be fantasy life. Like we would be betting on how we all mess up. Like, it's like I bet he doesn't get laid for 3 months. It's almost like fantasy, but you're using everyone's real life as the fantasy. So
fantasy rodeo or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Fantasy rodeo would be pretty good. There's a lot of good riders out there.
I'd bet on the clowns.
Yeah, I'd always
or the bull at least.
Yeah, the midget. You can't go wrong with that. So, Paul, are you a sports fan before you were asked to do this show? Were you a sports fan?
I was like a moderate sports fan. I liked watching sports. I didn't follow. I mean, I love my New York teams. Like, I was a big Jets fan and a big Knicks fan, and I grew up watching I always have to justify this. I'm a big Yankees fan, but I was a Yankees fan back when they were crappy, and it was like Rickey Henderson and Don Mattingly. So I feel like I can embrace being a Yankees fan. I'm not like a new Yankees fan, even though everyone hates me whenever I say I'm a Yankees fan.
Well, I'm thinking now for the loss of Carmelo Anthony for Denver natives and Denverites here. New York fans are persona non grata, so you're kind of talking where people are like, oh, he's a New York fan? Hang up on the guy, right?
Well, hold on. First of all, let me paint you the picture of being a New York Knicks fan.
Yeah.
It is a sad world. This is the first time things have been going well for us in years. So this is, I mean, I'm sorry that we took them away, but at the same time, this is coming off of almost like 2 decades of sadness.
Well, you got to understand here, you guys, you took our beloved Chauncey. I mean, he was one of us. He's a Denver guy. He went to the University of Colorado. I think everyone's like, well, fine, Melo can leave. He wants to go play in the big market. Fine. But you had to take our Chauncey, too.
That's, we did it. We did like Miami Heat style. Like, this is like low rate Heat, like the way that, what's his, why am I forgetting his name right now? Why he left the Cavs?
LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. Yeah, of course. Yeah. We pulled a LeBron on you.
Exactly. You are a big sports fan, just like my sister. That's probably how you guys bonded.
You guys are probably constantly talking about sports.
Yeah, I can never shut Tig up about sports. I mean, it's this and that. Renaud, you got to take.
Tig is the best.
Yeah.
You don't. I was curious to hear what, your sister's famous stand-up comic. I was curious to see what you would be like. But you sound nothing like her. I don't know why I assumed that you guys would have the same cadence.
You should see them in person. It's even more of a stark contrast.
As my friend and his best friend said, Drew, when he met Tig, she was walking by us when she was in town about a month ago. We were at her show, and I always try and stay in the back because she hates when I go to the shows. I think she just hates me being around more than anything. And she walks by, and I said, Drew, there's Tig, and he just starts laughing. He said, holy bleep, you could fit 4 of her in you. So it was pretty funny. She's, as you know, a tiny thing, and we had Sarah Silverman on here. Tig got Sarah on the show for me for my birthday back in January, and Sarah describes her as a little lumberjack. So
yeah, she cracks me up. Tig, I've seen Tig literally do her stand-up where she goes off the stage, sits in the audience with the microphone next to someone in the crowd, and just starts having a conversation with them. And she can pull it off. The entire audience is in rapt attention. They can't even see her. She's just in the crowd with somebody else.
Yeah, I saw her do that once, and then when she takes the mic stand and puts it in the crowd, she likes to do that. And then if she can spot one person not paying attention, then that person is screwed for the rest of the show.
Oh yeah, you're done. You're done. You don't want to get her wrath.
Because she will just go back to you and go back to you, and she could be in the middle of a bit and then go back to you again.
Paul,
yeah, that's it. Your night is wrecked. Yeah.
It kind of seems like everybody in comedy these days is kind of friends with each other nowadays, and I imagine there's probably nothing better now that being funny with the people you just kind of hang out even when the cameras aren't rolling. Is that the way comedy kind of is now, where everybody knows everybody? I don't know if it's because of Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that, but I mean, you see stuff. I mean, you're a hired gun in a lot of these things. It's like, oh, there's Paul Scheer again. It's like, once again, he's working with like just all sorts of funny people. Is that the way it is now?
Well, I feel like it's always kind of been like that in a certain degree. It's like, you see like the original cast of Saturday Night Live, like the Bill Murray and the Dan Aykroyd and the Chevy Chase. Like they all did movies together and they all worked on each other's projects, and that's kind of the same way it is now. I think I'm a part of this group called the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, and they're in New York and L.A. and like I started there before they even had a theater, and that's like people from there, like Rob Riggle from The Daily Show and Rob Corddry from Children's Hospital and Ed Helms from The Hangover, and all these guys that you recognize, and we all work together all the time. Like Rob Hubel and I did Human Giant with Aziz Ansari there, and so we all have been working with each other, and so as we do different things, we're like, oh, you got to come and do my show. Oh, you got to come and do my movie, and so we all become, it's friends that we've been working with for 10 or 15 years, and we all just are, it's just like it's a little community.
Paul, when does the league start filming again?
We'll start filming again in probably like late July or early August, so we can keep up to date with what's actually going on in the football season. And we'll be on probably late August, early September.
We've had your co-star Nick. He was on. Nick Kroll he called into the show once. We also had Aisha Tyler from Archer, and I feel like there's not a bad word spoken about FX these days. I don't know if that's coincidental with the fact that just about every TV show on that channel I absolutely love now. What's it like working with them?
It's awesome. It's like free HBO. You don't have to pay for it, and their shows are just as good.
Yeah, and I get HBO, and FX is better.
Yeah, I know. Justified is badass. There's so
I'm a
many.
fan of Lights Out. I think it's a great show.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with FX is they let you do what you want to do. Like, there's so many. I mean, this is the thing that people don't really know all the time. Is like when you do a show like on ABC or NBC, so many people have to weigh in and say like, oh, you should cast this person because her hair is brown. It's like, well, she's not as funny as this other person. Like, no, we like brown hair, and you're in. And if you have to go through that, you got to go through notes and everything. And a network like Adult Swim or like FX, they kind of say, hey, we're not going to give you as much money as these big networks, but you have total creative freedom. So when the shows are good, it's just a chance for the creators to be doing what they want to be doing. And that's why I think that's the difference.
And that's interesting because Tig was telling me about that with her new show that they're pitching to Logo. They're going to have complete control with Sarah as the executive producer, and if it takes off, then they'll just have all the power.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like basically these networks are kind of smart because they're saying like, hey, if this succeeds, we'll take credit for being geniuses because we gave you the show, and if it fails, we can say, well, you know what, they messed up. It's not our fault. So it's kind of like these networks are kind of smart. They get it both ways. Whereas when you get a really diluted idea, it's like, well, NBC put us on at the wrong time, or ABC didn't promote it the right way. Like this way this you're kind of a little bit more in control, and it's a more nurturing environment. It's cool. It's exciting. I think for me who's been able to make my own shows and be in these shows, it's like to do what you really want to do and not get it watered down is it's an amazing experience.
Hey,
That's
Paul,
great.
we got to run, but your show that you have,
I think I can
you're
get
doing
it.
the production meeting.
NCCSSDSUV.
That's right. Yeah, there will be on in July.
Off the top of my
Thanks
head.
guys for having me.
Hey,
Not bad.
Paul, we appreciate it, and best of luck
Thanks
with
a
the
lot,
show.
Paul.
Bye-bye.
Paul Scheer from The League on FX and from
National Terrorism Strike Force San Diego Sports Utility Vehicle. Man,
That is awesome.
it's a mouthful.
That title is
Adult. I mean, I can't
priceless.
wait for it. Just someone who's ballsy enough to have a name like that.
It's awesome. That is so amazing. Paul Scheer, we'll take a break. We'll take your phone calls, 303-297-1510.